karate. It's a demanding sport, and you'd think it'd take a lot of brute force to manipulate those punches and kicks. Well, tonight you're going to meet a 16-year-old female who handles it with ease. I'm Leeza Gibbons. We're glad to have you joining us this evening. Well, tonight you'll meet Jennifer Adams. She got her black belt when she was just 12 years old, and today she is extremely lethal. Tonight you'll watch her in action. And from there we'll take you to Alpine, Texas, to a cowboy college. Now, the students there can take courses in such subjects as horseshoeing and range management. Tonight we'll find out how that works. And in our tips this evening, Linda Harris is off in France at the food capital there of Dijon. And Sally Francis takes a look at the behind-the-scenes efforts at the Dallas Museum of Fine Arts. That's all just ahead on this evening's show, so join us, won't you? Thousands of students here in the Dallas area have trained right here at the Southwest Karate Academy. In fact, today many of the instructors are former students of the Greek Demetrius Havanis. Well, tonight we're going to take you to another kind of school. It's a college campus, but you won't find any Izods or topsiders, but rather more down vest and pickup trucks, because it's a school for cowboys. It's Sul Ross University in Alpine, and tonight we'll find out what goes on campus. The Sunset Limited rolls through this West Texas town almost every day, but it rarely stops here. You see, there just aren't a whole lot of people interested in spending part of their lives here, unless they're into sheep or goats or cattle or college. Here in Alpine, Texas, sits the campus of Sul Ross University, the smallest state-supported college in Texas, enrollment 1,700. Now, what you can take here runs the gamut from poli-sci to history to journalism. But what most people come here for are courses in meat science, horseshoeing, carcass evaluation. How about animal psychology and sausage manufacturing 203? These are all subjects that are part of the range science major and are what most of these students come for.
It's one of the few places in Texas that you can study range, really study range. You can go to other schools, won't mention any, and take range, and there's no range there.
This is Doug Neal, a city boy who spent 25 of his 32 years in Houston. Here at Sul Ross, he's working on his master's degree in range management. And like many other students displaced from urban areas, he has no burning desire to return to the city.
I haven't lived in the city since '75, and I don't miss it. I don't know. I haven't figured out what there is to miss yet.
Now, you might guess that most of the students come from the surrounding farms and ranches that dominate the landscape in this part of the country, and you'd be right. But there are a surprising number of young people from such varied places as Chicago and Baltimore and even Zambia. In fact, there are students from 31 states and 18 foreign countries. Why are you here?
I wish I knew.
Patrick Schneemenzia is from Africa, where he works for a cattle-raising company. And this is Bonnie Noel, a transplant from Connecticut, enrolled in the animal health program.
They don't have very many back in the East, and most of them, all the good schools are in the Midwest. And I wanted to go to a small college in a small town, and I sure did. But I've been down here, I realized I picked it, but I like it. It's a different country, and it's a different way of life.
Bonnie and her roommate Sheila Collier, who's from Baltimore, have finally adjusted to a town with only one night spot and one movie theater.
There's a lot to do if you can find it. You have to be down here long enough to know where to look for it. It's going to take us about a year.
But this is still the rural West, not yet ready to accept some of the social graces practiced in more urban areas.
Girls can call up guys and ask them out for dates, whereas the too traditional down here, you wouldn't think of doing that in Texas at all. Not at all. I wouldn't. And they laugh at our accents all the time. Yeah. They talk funny.
Elizabeth Luttrell is what they call around here a meat major. She's been taking classroom courses in animal science, zoology, and microbiology. But it's here in the lab where she's been getting hands-on experience in things like meat grading and livestock slaughtering. People with this kind of experience are in big demand.
The meats industry right now needs people very, very badly. And somebody going out of four-year program like this in the meats industry can easily make $18,000 a year starting with some of the big packing plants and like that. So it's a real high employment area with a good pay scale right now.
Well, in a school where the class ring is a class belt buckle, you'd expect that the big sport on campus is rodeo, and it is. Saul Ross has been the reigning collegiate champ for 3 years running, and part of the reason is they have an arena right on campus, complete with horses and bulls to practice on. And believe me, they're the real thing.
Watching.
Cody Lambert competed in the National Finals Rodeo in Oklahoma City this past December and finished 14th overall. And that's pretty good against the pros.
We got a chance to make money off the deal. College rodeo is the only sport in a collegiate league that pays money back.
This is probably the most popular area on campus. This is the horseshoeing lab, or more appropriately, advanced farrier training. Here, students learn how to forge handmade shoes that up to a few years ago was almost a lost art. There's such a demand now for good horseshoers that students can step right out of this school and right into a $30,000 a year job.
At one time it was a dying craft, but it's a resurgent craft now, I would say, because the horse population in this country has risen drastically since 1960. Hit the slow point in 1960, about 2 million head. There's probably 12 million head now. There aren't enough qualified farriers to meet the need. A good farrier will generally be worked to the bone in most areas, especially metropolitan areas where you wouldn't think that would be your horse centers, but it really is.
Nationally, Texas has the largest horse population of any state in the nation. One would expect that. However, the highest concentration of horses is in the Dallas-Fort Worth region, and many of these farriers will be packing their 4-year degrees in horseshoeing and headed for the big time once their classes end here. And for $30,000 a year, why not? Department Chairman Ernie Harmon says there are no grand expansion plans for Saul Ross, no new football stadiums or student unions. The last new facility was the Range Animal Science Complex, and that was built 6 or 7 years ago. No, they're content with classes averaging 17 students. And the last big name to appear at the campus auditorium was Pat Buttram. And you know, that's pretty hard to beat. Well, we're going to take you a long way from Alpine all the way to France when we come back with Linda Harris. Stay with us.